Hello and welcome back to part 2, guys. I hope you got your panels together, and if you're ready to put them together and make them look like this cardigan that I have on here, stay tuned for the rest of the video. So where we left off on part 2, you have 2 panels that look like this. You will have a corner where you end with the 2 colors. You'll see those 2 ends. That's how you know where to fold it, so you won't get mixed up when it's time to put it together. So when we fold it in half, the corner that we're starting on is this corner right here, so that we're going to go around 4 times. When you go around 4 times, you're going to come up and you'll see that's how you create the shoulder seam, and it'll lead into the sleeve. It'll make sense once we start completing it, but I'm going to show you where to start and go around the 4 times, and when we come back, that's where we're going to start putting it together. So let's follow along. So I'm going to start with our typical knot and create a chain 3, and I'm going to go back in this space and create a cluster with 2 more double crochets. So 1 double crochet and another double crochet. We have 1 cluster. That's how we begin. So it's the same thing that we've been doing. We're just we're creating a new thread because this is how we put it together. So we're going to go around, like I said, 4 times. Go around your panel, and when you come back around, we're going to start putting it together. In that last corner, we just put 1 cluster. We don't make another corner. I just wanted to make sure I show you that, because that last cluster is what we use to connect the opposite side of the sleeve. And this is how it should look when you're done. So now we are going to fold our panel back in half. You'll see where we came around our 4 sides. One side has the white side completed, the other side is still pink. That's how you know how to fold it correctly. So now to connect it, we're going to begin with that cluster where we left off, and on the opposite side where the white is, we're going to go in and slip stitch it. Go in from behind in that space, pull through the loop, and now we have begun the connection. Now the good stuff begins. So in that space where we left off with our cluster, in that corner, we're going to create another cluster with 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. So we are starting, what you see is we're putting the white color on the opposite side to connect it so it's identical. It'll make sense as you go along. So we're going to do the same thing in the next space on the opposite side. Go in with a slip stitch, and now in the next space on the pink side, we're going to go in with another cluster. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. It should start, you see the connection? You see how we getting somewhere? This is how it should be looking. I'm going to show you how to do it one more time off GP just to make sure you got it, and then we're going to speed it up. So we go around on that opposite side with a slip stitch, and then on the opposite side, on the pink side, the next space, we're going to go in with a cluster. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. Now you see how we're connecting the sleeve. We're connecting it. You don't have to sew it. You just connect it with the slip stitches and create clusters on the other side. We're going to keep doing that all the way down. Repeat that all the way down, and then I'm going to show you how to extend your sleeve down your arm based on whatever length you want. You can make it baggy, you can make it short. I made this one a little more short, so complete this and I'll see you at the end. Of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging at the end. So now on that last cluster, I'm going to show you how to connect it so we can start extending. Go around the back with that slip stitch, and then we're going to put a cluster in that last space right here at the end. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to close it up by going in the top of that chain. Don't go in the space. We're going to go into the top of that chain 3, and we're going to make a slip stitch to make sure it's secure and connected. And we have completed the connection of our panel. Now you see you have a little sleeve. So even if you wanted to make it like a little short sleeve sweater, you could stop right here. But this is the basics of making a hexagon cardigan. So now we're going to make a chain 3, and we're going to start extending our sleeve, and we're going to make 2 more double crochets in that same space to make a cluster. And now we're going to go into that next space and try to go around that knot to secure everything, and we're going to make another cluster. We're just really repeating this all the way around, and I'll make sure you have everything right at the end, and I'll show you how to close it up and attach the pink. And we are back. We're going to put 1 more cluster in that last pink space, that last corner. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then we're going to close it off into the top of that chain 3. Go on the top of there, pull your yarn through, and make sure you we're doing the same thing with the connecting the pink like we did in the previous video. Go ahead and extend that white tail out, because we're going to keep going back and forth between the pink and white as long as you want to go, or whatever colors you're using. So now to attach the pink, I'm going to go in the top of that chain as well, just to make sure it's secure for this first row. And I'm going to attach my yarn. I'm going to make a chain 3, one, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go back into that space and create 2 more double crochets to make a cluster. 1, 2, and repeat this all the way around. Once again, we're doing the same thing like we've been doing throughout the tutorial. We're gonna just keep making clusters all the way around our sleeve, and then I'll show you how to close it off at the end. And we're just gonna repeat this until you extend your sleeve as long as you would like to. So now we are at the end, and make sure you pull the tail with the white yarn into the inside of the sleeve. You don't want it on the outside. You want to keep your seam in the inside the same as the panel. So we're going to close it off by going on the top of that chain 3 and close off our pink yarn. Make sure you keep the white yarn inside the sleeve, but we're closing off this pink. Now we're extending our sleeve. Pull that pink tail because we're going to keep going back and forth just like we did before. Now we're going to pull that white yarn tight and we're going to do a chain 1 to create the seam for the sleeve. Chain 1 and go take the hook out, go in that space just like we've changed the colors before. Make sure we pull that pink to the side out the way, and then we're going to go around with that loop and chain our 3 again, and then we're going to create a cluster by adding 2 more double crochets in that same space. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and now we have a cluster and we're going to go all the way around. Now I did this a total of 5 times. I changed colors 3 more times after this to get the length that I wanted. You feel free to go more if you would like to, but if you want to achieve the same length and we're about the same size, if you can eyeball it, I kept it to 5 rows total. Now I've completed the 5 rounds and the seam will be connected to the seam that's in the body. You'll see it on the inside and your yarn should look like this, and we're going to tie off the white part of the yarn. I will be switching to a 4mm hook for this part of the tutorial. So I'm using the pink to draw my sleeve in and to create the ribbing for the sleeve. So I'm going to pull that pink yarn through the top of that white chain so we can make sure we have a secure connection, and I'm going to secure it. And then I'm going to go directly back into the top of that chain again to create a single crochet, but we're actually creating a decrease. So we're just going to pull the loop through for the first step, and we're going to go into the next double crochet and pull through the loop. This is how we're going to create our decrease and start drawing our sleeve in. And then we're going to pull the yarn through all 3 loops. And I do 2 together for my sleeve to draw it in, just to go ahead and do it real quick because of how wide it is. So we're going to do 2 together all the way around. So we're going to pull through 1, pull through 2, and then we're going to take our yarn and pull it through all 3 loops. And that's how we're going to create the decrease, and we're going to repeat this all the way around and draw in our sleeve, and I'll meet you back at the end. So we're doing 2 together, so you should be ending with an even number of stitches left. So I'm ending at 4 just to show you how it should look. You should be putting 2 together, so that's 1 together, 2 together, 1 together, 2 together, and then we're going to close up our round and make sure you put in the top of that single crochet where we started, that decreased single crochet rather, and pull through there. And now we're going to create the ribbing for our sleeve, and you can see that it's drawn in, so it'll be a poofy baggy, but it'll be drawn in when we put the ribbing on the end. Now to create the sleeve ribbing, we're going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to go back in the opposite direction, and we're going to go into that second to last chain to create a single crochet. So that's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets. We're going down 9 times. 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now in that 10th chain, we're connecting it to our sleeve. So we're going to go into that 10th chain, pull the working yarn through there. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Pull through 1 loop, not both, just the one. And then we're going to go into the next chain, not the one that we're already connected to, the one next to it. And we're going to go in, pull our working yarn through there to pull 3 loops onto the chain. You should have 3 loops to be sure. And then we're going to pull our yarn through all 3 loops, and that's how we connect it. And we're going to repeat this up and down all the way around. I'm going to show you how to do it again. Now we're going to go into the next stitch that's directly next to it, and we're going to create a single crochet. Then we're going to turn our work, and we're going to start working the other direction, and we're going to go in the back loop only. So we're creating the ripple effect, so you're going to go into the back loop only and create your single crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to turn our work. Now you see that ripple effect that we've created by going in the back loop only. And we're going to turn our work, and we're going to go back down in the opposite direction like we did the first time. When we get to the 9th stitch, we're going to connect it to our sleeve. Remember, from now on we're doing back loop only, so I'm going to speed it up, and when we get to that 9th stitch, I'm going to show you how to connect it. Now to connect it in that 10th stitch, we're going to pull through only 1 time, and then we're going to go into the next stitch over on the sleeve as such. First we have 2 loops, pull through, and then we're going to go into that next stitch to connect it to our sleeve. So now we have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to pull our working yarn through all 3. So we're going to keep doing this all the way around to create that ribbing for the sleeve. We're going to do this all the way around until we get to the last stitch, and I'm going to show you how to close it up. So we're going to repeat this method all the way around, and I'll meet you at that last stitch. Now once we're done 10 times, we're going to do our chain 1. Now we're going to connect the sleeve. We're going to go into that front loop on the opposite side, and we're going to pull our working yarn through the loop that front loop and pull it through our chain 1. So now we're going to be going through what looks like it's the front loop on both sides. You can see in the demonstration. I don't want to confuse you and say front loop, back loop, front loop, back loop, but the loops that are next to each other, we're going to go through both of those and just pull through and slip stitch them together. So go through that loop on that side, go through the front loop on that side, pull the working yarn through, and now it's closed. Go through that loop on that side, that loop on that side, slip stitch it through, and it's closed. We're basically sealing it up. We're going to do that all the way down the same way. When we go down, when we get to that 9th stitch, we're going to close it the same way with the 3, and I'll show you. I'm not going to speed it up so to make sure that you get it, because it's kind of hard to see that stitch when you get to the end. Now we're at that 9th stitch. We're doing the same thing, going in those loops that are next to each other, but we're going to pull our working yarn through and only pull through 1 loop. So we have 2 loops on the yarn. So in that last stitch, it's going to be kind of tight, but you got to eyeball it and make sure you see the correct stitch to make sure that you seal it up correctly. Go in that last stitch and pull that working yarn through there, and you'll have 3, and then you'll pull it through all 3 loops. You may struggle a bit, but you'll know you're doing it correctly. So I just realized as I was recording this that I went down to the white. The pink stitch is the one you're supposed to go into, but do the same thing that you see me doing on the screen. I don't know why I went down to the white, but we're going to go ahead and tie this yarn off, and we have completed our panel. Don't think too much into it. Just do it right from what I say. Do as I say, not as you see me do, whatever the saying is. But this is our panel, and we have completed it, and we're going to do this again. You're just going to do the same steps on your other panel, and I'm going to show you how to put it together. This is what you should have. So to make sure the pattern stays consistent with pink, white, not ending with pink and pink, we're going to do 7 rows in the back so that we can connect it and have a collar in the middle. So we're going to do 3 rows on each side, and then our 7th row, we will be connecting them together. So I'm going to show you how to do it once again on one side. Then you will do the same thing on the next side, and we will join them together in the middle. And also make sure you're working on the back, because I have a funny blooper of me connecting the sweater upside down. It was crazy. I'm gonna put it on here, but anyway. So what we're gonna do is create a double crochet at the bottom of the back of the panel. So you see where the sleeve is hanging off. We're starting at the back, and then we're going to start at the bottom of the panel. So we're creating a double crochet in that corner space, and we're going to put a cluster in here. So that's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. Boom. And we're going to do that all the way down. I sped it up. I don't want to make it too long. So we're going to do that all the way down. We've been doing this over and over and over and over and over and over. When we get to the top of our sweater, I'm going to show you how to finish that row off and attach your white yarn. So in the top of that double crochet, we're not going to go in a space. We're going to go in the stitch to make it secure, and we're going to put 1 double crochet at the end. We're not making a cluster, we're just putting 1 double crochet, and we're going to create our tail, because now we're going to attach our white yarn. Now to connect our white yarn, we're going to go back down to the bottom, and we're going to put a double crochet into the top of that first stitch of double crochets, 1 double crochet, and then we're going to go into that next space and create a cluster with 3 double crochets. So we have 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and 3 double crochets, and we're going to do that all the way down. Then speed it up. And once we get to the end right here, into that 1 double crochet, we're going to create a cluster. So 3 into the top of, we're not going to go in the space, we're going to go into the top of the stitch. So that's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and 3 double crochets into the stitch, because we're making it secure. And make sure you pull that pink yarn nice and tight. Create your white tail. And now we're going to pull our pink tail in nice and tight. We're going to create a chain 1 to keep it sturdy. And then we're going to pull that chain through the top of that double crochet stitch to make sure it's sturdy. We're creating the collar, and then we're going to do our chain 2 to make sure our double crochet is nice and tight. 1, 2. And then I flipped my work over and went into the next space and created a cluster. So that's 3 double crochets, and then I go all the way down. I stopped, since we're done with the white yarn, I stopped halfway through that row to show you how to go ahead and just cut that off to get it out your way. So go ahead and pull that through the top of that chain and tie that white yarn off to go ahead and get it out the way while you're turning it. And then we're going to finish that pink row. Now that we're at the end of that pink row, we're going to go on the top of that double crochet with 3 double crochets. We're creating a cluster to finish that row. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and we're going to go ahead and tie off our yarn, and we have created our 3 rows. So we have completed the 3 rows on this panel, and we're going to do the same thing on the other panel. The only thing we're not going to do is cut off the white yarn, because that is the row we are using to connect it. So once you're done, it should look like this. Your white yarn should still be connected, and we're going to join them together at the top of that second panel with the white yarn. We're doing the same method with the way that we connected it at the top of the sleeve. If you remember, we're just doing it on the back of our cardigan. So go ahead and connect both panels to hold them together, and go back in your loop, and we're going to go on the top of the double crochet on the other side, and we're going to do a slip stitch. And now we've started our connection. So now we're going to go into the next space and create a cluster. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. And now we're going to go on the other side and create the slip stitch. Go from the back, pull the working yarn through to create the slip stitch, and then we're going to create a cluster in that next space. We're going to do the same thing all the way down, And this will be the grand finale. Our cardigan will be connected. We will sew our ends in, and it's gonna be so cute. Follow along, camera. Now we are at the end, so we're going to create the cluster in this last space. We're going to slip stitch in that next space. Now we're going to create a cluster by putting 3 double crochets in the top of that stitch. We're not going to go in this space. We're going in the stitch to secure the foundation of the bottom of our sweater, and then go in the back of the top of that stitch, not in the space. We're securing everything now, and we're going to pull it through, create a slip stitch, and tie off our yarn. And we have completed our cardigan, and it should look like this at the end. You're gonna sew in all your ends, and as you can see at the end, the reason I created this concept was because I didn't want to have to cut off ends every time I change colors. Even though you have to tie in some ends, it's not as many, and it does create a cute little seam on the inside, so you know where the inside of your sweater is, and you just tie those few in instead of 100 at a time. And this is the finished product. This is what your cardigan should look like, and you can see how long my sleeves are. If you need to add more rows, you can just add more rows and complete the tutorial the same way. But this is what we have, and I'll see y'all in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.